Welcome into the NJCAA Network. I'm your host, Zach McKinstry, and today we delve into the Marine Corps and specifically their leadership event workshop, which our guest today, Miss Lorayne Chandler, has attended, the Assistant Athletic Director of Arizona Western and head volleyball coach of Arizona Western. So Miss Chandler, Coach Chandler, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's just jump right into it. The junior college brand is sort of one of grit, and I'm sure you know it well, student athletes having to grind their way to success. What similarities do you see between the junior college athletes and the Marine Corps?
So the experience in general was something that I was not used to. And I think once you got there and you got a chance to really see the rest of the coaches that were there were a couple of other two-year coaches there as well. Like you said, the similarities are evident across the board with the leadership, with the way that things are put together, the organization. Sometimes things have to be a little bit of a fly by the seat of your pants, and that wasn't very often there, but as coaches, whenever it did happen, it was really good to be able to see the flexibility that everybody had and really just kind of taking home the fact that everybody has to be able to work with what they have, and I think that comparison was really important to see, and just the feedback that we got in general, as far as making sure that everybody was on the same page and getting everybody geared up for what was coming next. And I think as coaches at two-year schools, that's important for us to relay and take back to our athletes, and making sure that everybody understands that you would like to have a little why in why you're doing things. And I think that our student athletes can really appreciate that. And the Marines really did a good job of explaining the why throughout the experience.
Yeah, you've obviously had a lot of success at Arizona Western with the volleyball team there. Is there anything that you learned at this workshop that's helped shape your coaching philosophy or approach?
I think there was a lot of times in a lot of the questions that we asked the Marines about, do you do things exactly this way every time? And in some instances, the answer was yes, but there was a lot of flexibility, which was a little bit surprising, I think, for me and some of the other coaches to see just how roll with the punches they can be. And so I think in my coaching experience, I can be a little bit rigorous in, we have to do X before we can do Y, and just being able to recognize that you can be flexible, and sometimes that's kind of part of it. And that's the beauty of being able to work with two-year athletes is being able to take the good with the bad and be able to make a little lemonade.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good segue into the next question, which is there an instance specifically that you can think of that is directly correlated on your team to leadership within your team or success?
As far as what I learned whenever I had the experience there, yeah, for sure. So one of the experiences that we got to do, which is probably one of my favorites, was we got to go through these different stations, and we were paired in a group of four, and we had to come up with a game plan for some crazy scenarios. So how do you get from one spot to the other, and you had to visualize that there was maybe like a fire in between the two places, and they gave you a couple of pointers, and then they just let you figure it out. And through each of those stations, each of the coaches got an opportunity to be a leader and explain to the rest of the team what they needed to do in order to be successful. And the majority of the time we were not successful. And after that, after each station, they debriefed with us and explained how we could have done better, explained what we did well. And I think from a leadership standpoint, that was really powerful in being able to essentially be the student and get the feedback. And so it kind of puts you in a position that your student athletes, typically are in whenever they come into the college scene. And so that experience was very powerful, really kind of letting the athletes work through some of their own problems, rather than trying to plan the things for them. I think that I was able to kind of take that away as well.
What things drew you to this camp in the first place, and is it something that you would recommend or have recommended to other coaches or organizations?
Sure. So just the email that I got initially kind of caught my eye, and I have my grandfather was a Marine. I have a nephew that's a Marine, so that's close to my heart. And I just think that they have a lot to offer. And one of the things that the Marines talked about quite a bit was we're not just guns blazing. There are other things that we do amongst the Marines that isn't just battlefield. And I really wanted to learn a little bit more about that. And then from a coaching standpoint, although the battlefield part is not at all similar, but a lot of the correlation in the leadership responsibilities and the way that things are structured, there's a lot of similarities there. And just learning how to maybe mirror some of those things at this level, I think, is powerful.